I am Belinda Harris. It is fix my screen now. Wednesday, June the 11th. Man, flying, we're flying by. Flying by. It's June the 11th. It is 6:30 in the morning. That's right. 6:30 in the morning on June the 11th. I am Belinda Harris. And every Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, I go live on YouTube to talk about self-care at work. Every Wednesday. Today's no different because it's 6:30. It's YouTube live, and here I am. And today we're going to talk about self-care at work. You may be saying, who are you? I'm Belinda Harris. I'm an HR disruptor. On this channel, I talk about all things HR, all things as it relates to human resources. I talk about AI, and I talk about self-care at work. And on Wednesdays, I go live to talk about self-care at work. And so because it's Wednesday, because it's 6:30 in the morning, it's time to talk about self-care at work. Decision fatigue, a psychological drain caused by too many choices, and how building self-care systems at work protects your mental energy, focus, and well-being. So good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Care at Work Live. I'm Belinda Harris, your workplace wellness. And I'm here to remind you that your peace, your energy, and clarity are not optional. They are essential, especially at work. And today we're going to talk about something that you probably haven't even named yet. You haven't named it yet, but I guarantee it, you felt it. I'm talking about that brain fog at 3 p.m. That snap decision that turned into a mistake. That moment when someone asks, "What do you want for lunch?" and your mind goes blank. That, my friends, that's decision fatigue. And it's a self-care crisis hiding in plain sight. Now, you may be saying, what is decision fatigue? Decision fatigue is when the quality of your decisions get worse the more choices you make. The more decisions you make, no matter how small, the brain, it just starts to wear down. That's what decision fatigue is. It is that the more choices that you have, the more decisions that you make, no matter how small they are, that your brain just wears down. That's decision fatigue. And researchers have found that judges grant parole, if someone's on parole, less later in the day. Why? Because the judge's mental batteries are drained. And at work, this means that we start saying yes to things we shouldn't. We skip breaks because choosing what to eat feels overwhelming. We lose patience. And worst of all, we neglect ourselves because the energy it takes to choose a healthy boundary just isn't there anymore. That's what decision fatigue does. We start saying yes to things we know we shouldn't. We know we don't want to. We start skipping our breaks because trying to think, what am I going to eat for lunch if you didn't bring anything for lunch? What am I going to eat for lunch is just too much. We lose patience with things. And we neglect ourselves because the energy it takes to say no, to choose a healthy snack, to get up and take a break becomes too much. It becomes way, way too much. And let me give you some examples. Let me know if any of this starts to ring a bell for you. You're constantly switching between apps or tasks. Like you're constantly switching one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Or how about this? You open your inbox and close it right back. If you're like me, you get a lot of emails. So you open the inbox, you see what you have, and no, you close it back. You can't decide what to work on first. So instead, you get out the phone and you start scrolling. You say, I don't care, more than usual, even though you do care. By the time you clock out, even choosing what show to watch sometimes feels exhausting. Do any of these ring a bell for you? That you're constantly switching between tasks. Like you go from one thing to the next, totally different things, none of them related. You open your inbox, you close it back. You can't decide what you're going to work on first because you have so many things to do. So instead of working on anything, you start scrolling on social media. You say, I don't care, more than usual, even though you do care. And by the time you clock out, all those shows that you can watch on TV is just like, it is too much. That's not laziness. It's not lack of motivation. It's a brain that's overwhelmed and is begging you for better systems. So how does self-care at work help you fight back against decision fatigue? Because self-care is not just cute planners. Get that digital self-care work planner. That's a plug. But it's not just cute planners. Real self-care is about preserving your cognitive energy so that you have the clarity to make better decisions, set boundaries, and stay focused. And here's how you do it. Routine is self-care. A lot of people be like, oh, they want to do something different every day, but routine is self-care. Create a workday ritual that reduces the number of decisions you make. For example, check emails only at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's a routine. This is what I'm doing. Eat the same breakfast and snack Monday through Friday. Now, I know a lot of people like different tastes and want to eat something different every day, and I get that. But if you get a self-care routine that every Monday through Friday you're eating the same breakfast, so you don't have to think about what am I eating today. You take the same snack. It saves your brain from making one more decision of what I'm eating. And here's another one. Use a preset work outfit or uniform, like Steve Jobs and his black turtlenecks. Every time Steve Jobs went to work, in on that same black turtleneck and those blue jeans. Why? Some people be like, why? Well, the reason is because he didn't have to decide what he was going to wear. He already knew a black turtleneck and jeans. Same thing with Mark Zuckerberg, a gray t-shirt. He doesn't have to think, well, he has to make, Steve Jobs had to make so many important decisions. He took out what I'm going to wear away because he just couldn't use that because he knew he'd have to need that mental power to make a decision later today. So he was going to, I'm wearing this every day. I don't have to think about it. Just, this is what's in my closet. Mark Zuckerberg, gray t-shirt, same reason. Because you don't have to think about it. These aren't boring. You may think, how boring, how dull. They're freeing. They're freeing your brain to not have to make what I'm going to eat today for breakfast. Or what I'm going to take for snack Monday through Friday. What am I going to wear? If you have a lot of clothes in your closet and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to wear. This helps. Routine is self-care. The other thing that you can do is pre-decide key boundaries. What does that mean? It means to make some decisions in advance. For example, if your coworker dumps a task on you at the last minute, I'm going to say, I need a day's notice Can we try again tomorrow? I already know that's what I'm going to say. When my coworker comes to me and says, hey, I need this. Can you help me with this? I'm going to already say I need a day's notice. Can we try again tomorrow? If I feel overwhelmed, I've already decided this. If I feel overwhelmed, I will step away for 5 minutes without feeling guilt. I'm already deciding that. That's what I'm going to do. If a coworker comes up to me today at the last minute, my answer, I'm going to need a day's notice. If I start to feel overwhelmed, I'm going to step away for 5 minutes without feeling guilty. I've already pre-decided that. Because when you pre-decide, it removes the emotion from the moment and makes self-care automatic. Because I already know what I'm going to do. It's like when you get to a stop sign, you're going to stop. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to stop. You already know what you're going to do. When you pre-decide key boundaries, you already know what you're going to do. So there's no emotion when you do it. I'm not going to get mad or aggravated when my coworker comes and tries to dump something on the last minute because I already know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, can we try again tomorrow? Because I need a day's notice. There's no emotion. It's automatic. My self-care kicks in automatic. The third thing that you can do is automate the small stuff. You know, I use tech all the time. I talk about AI a lot. Use tech, use AI to help you like set reoccurring calendar blocks for lunch and your breaks. Just reoccurring. That way you don't have to go in and set it every day. Every day at 12, it's already set. I'm going to lunch. Every day at 1 and 4 p.m. it's already set that I'm going on break, that I'm taking a break. It's already set. It's reoccurring. You can use AI for templates for emails and reports. You can already have an email already a template for it, of especially if you're answering the same thing all the time. You can already have that. Let AI help you create a template for that. And then batch your task. You stop dawdling between 12 decisions at once. That was one of the things that benefited me the most, was that I stopped going from one thing to the next, because your brain has to shift. If you go from a meeting to now I have to work on this project, to now I have to coach someone, you're taking one, and by the time you get into it good, now I got to work on the next. Now I got to work on the next. Your brain, it takes too much. If I'm doing meetings, so I have a day where I try to schedule all my meetings in that day. I'm in meeting mode. So just meeting after meeting after meeting. I don't have to be creative. I don't have to be work on projects because I know I'm just doing meetings. When I'm working on a creative project and I'm being creative, like say I'm working on content or I'm working on something that I want to produce, right? Then that whole day, that's what I'm working on. Maybe you don't have a whole day where you can focus on that, but you can batch it into these 2 hours or these 3 hours. I'm doing this, not 15 different things in that. Automating small stuffs buys you energy for the big stuff. When you automate those small stuff, that comes automatic. Kind of like after you use the bathroom, you wash your hands, it's automatic. When you have shoes that have strings that need to be tied, when you put them on, you tie them, that's automatic. You don't think about it. When you put toothpaste on your toothbrush and you start brushing your teeth, it's automatic. You don't think about it. It just is natural. When you start automating small stuff that you don't have to think about, that just happens, it buys you energy for big stuff. Let me share something with you. Wednesdays used to drain me. My calendar was packed. I'd be managing people, creating content, solving problems. And by 3 p.m., I was done. I'd crash. Now I protect my decision energy. I plan my meals. I don't check group me or in emails until 10 a.m. And I only make 2 types of decisions before lunch. And that's either creative ones or coaching ones. That's it. By doing less choosing, I've gained more clarity, focus, and peace. And I want that for you too. Self-care. And this is a self-care at work reminder. Self-care isn't just rest. You're going to hear me say, if you've watched any of my lives about self-care, if you watch any of my self-care videos, you'll hear me say over and over again, self-care is strategy. It's not just rest. It's strategy. You can't make high-level decisions on a drained battery. You can't set boundaries if you're mentally overloaded. Decision fatigue is real. It's real. And it's wrecking your workday. Real quiet like. To fix that, one simplified system at a time. One pre-decision at a time. One no instead of a resentful yes at a time. Give your brain the energy it needs. Give yourself that. Self-care at work is the most important thing that you can do for yourself at work. It's the most important thing that you can do for your employer. Believe it or not. Self-care. It is not selfish. We're going to try to protect our peace. And in doing that, you want to automate where you can. Self-care isn't selfish. It's sustainable. I'm Belinda Harris. Self-care at work live every Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning. I am here to talk and share about self-care at work. I hope you have a wonderful self-care at work day. I'll see you at the next video.